Hey everybody, Larry, Fort Worth Memories Museum and Groups. Let me see if I can find the live videos. We've got a political interview here in an hour. Yep, so we're in well, see if I can find myself. There we go. I'm going to turn the sound down while I'm at it. Edit. So today is Thursday, May the 1st. Well, we disposed of the first quarter of this year. January, February, March, and April. No. We're a third of the way through the year. Thursday, May 1st. Okay. And I'm going to like it. Tell everybody good morning. And we're going to share it to the internet. Memories, live videos, messages. Okay. The rain's gone. Man, I tell you what, that rain yesterday was ridiculous. You couldn't see the road going home at 2 o'clock on Loop 820 out there. You couldn't see the road. I mean, it was a driving rain. Same thing this morning. The fog out there on 199 and Lake Worth Bridge. You couldn't see any. You couldn't even see the other car's headlights. James is in, George is in, Brittany's in, Marilyn's in. Don't ask me where we're going to eat. I forgot all about it. I had grandkids come over. Anybody need any extra grandkids? I've got a few. Okay, so we have Veronica Law, who is running for a spot on the community college board. So we're going to be talking schooling this morning on a college level. So get your questions ready. She ought to be here in a few minutes too. She said she'd be here about 7:30. But I will tell y'all at noon, once Rosie and I get this, we couldn't finish the cars yesterday because of the rain. It's ridiculous. I don't know how much rain we got. Does anybody know? We had to got several inches. I mean, it just rained here. The whole parking lot was standing 3 or 4 inches in water. The entire parking lot. The museum sits up on a little incline here, thank God. The only other time that I saw the water standing in this parking lot like that was when we had the ice-a-thon in 2021. That water main broke and just gushed. I was trying to get home. Kyle called me, and this security fence back here, wooden structure, we had to kick holes in that to get the water to flow out because it was up at the edge of the door. If we hadn't have done that, it would have flooded the museum. I mean, it took knowing Betsy. I mean, Betsy's the mayor at that time, or maybe Maddie was, but I was calling them both, and I've got their cell numbers. Get somebody out here to turn this dang water off. I mean, it was ridiculous. Okay. Cleburne is on target already this morning. I'm trying to wipe the screen off so this lady will have a monitor to see if y'all ask questions. Okay, Cleburne, what's up? How bad did the Spanish influenza affect Fort Worth 1917, 18, and 19? Well, really, it hit Fort Worth harder than anywhere in the state. I don't know, Houston, it hit them first. See, they always keep calling us the Spanish influenza. I think it was started at a military, I don't know, maybe it was a person from Spain that originally contracted it. Fort Funston, which is really Fort Riley now in Kansas, is where the first American soldier contracted it. And that was in the fall of 1918. It rapidly spread to the fort down at the military base in Houston, and within 3 days it was here. I'll give you an example now. Different people have different ideas on how many people the Spanish influenza killed. I've seen it from 50 million to 100 million worldwide. I put it at 60 million. Okay, so let's backtrack to Fort Worth. That was your question. In the month of October of 1908, we had 1,200 people die in 1 month. Really, it wasn't even 1 month, 24 days. That was the highest death rate for Tarrant County or Fort Worth. And they were all soldiers. 1,200 of them in October of 1918. I said 08, 18. So the Spanish influenza, I think we just nicknamed, we're the big boys on the planet, so we name whatever, whenever. What was the population? At the time, the population in Fort Worth was, the civil population was 110,000. Okay? With the soldiers at Camp Bowie and the 3 aviation fields, you got 37,000 more people here. So our population was really 147,000 individuals. We grew. Fort Worth has had spurts all through its existence. The population in 1900 was 26,680. In 1910, it was 73,312. That's an increase of 175%. There is no other city there's no other city anywhere in the United States that grew that fast. The reason, the main contribution, the main industry was cattle, the slaughterhouses that opened in 1902 and 1903, and the grain mills and the other mills. Peanuts. We were the largest peanut deal in the country for a long time. And we did back then what we're doing today. We had all of these communities pop up, and our civic leaders didn't do much to do the infrastructure. In 1918, there's 25 square miles, the city. I think that's over 100 square miles now. In 1918, Tarrant County had 137 miles of paved roads. We had 500 miles of gravel roads. Same thing with these, we do these developments up at Haslett, up northwest Fort Worth, northeast Fort Worth. There's 2 lanes going to the development. I asked Manny about that, and Manny assured me we were going to correct that. I talked to Marshall Hobbs about it, Michael Crane, and my thoughts are that we are a attractive enough city, municipality, that these developers, when they come to town, we don't need to be giving them a tax abatement, none of them. I don't care who they are. And we don't need to be, we need to tell them, hey, you got this community planned over here that's going to have 1,000 homes, whatever. Fine, we need infrastructure and y'all are paying for it, or you're paying the bulk of it. We're not holding their feet to the fire. I mean, we're quick to get more businesses and more people, but we ought to be able to be pretty choosy about it. I mean, I think, don't y'all think? October of 1908, 1,200 died. Okay, so what happened? It stopped World War I. I don't care what any historian tells you. The warring countries were having more soldiers die next to each other than from the other side shooting bombs or bullets or whatever. So it actually stopped World War I. So here in Fort Worth, Camp Bowie was no longer operational as far as training soldiers. That really ended late 1917, early 1918. The influenza didn't hit Fort Worth, Tarrant County, till about May or June of 18. It rapidly increased. In October, by the 24th of October, I believe, I'm pulling it up. By the 24th of October, the death count in October alone was 1,200 soldiers. So they closed down everything. There was no theaters open. There was no, of course, you didn't have malls or anything back then. No churches. Most of the businesses were closed. They had a system where they had a blue card system, and I know that's a fact, it's blue. So the city would get city workers to go around and check houses. Do y'all have the influenza? Yes. And they're standing back from the front door with a bullhorn. Okay, close your door. They'd send somebody else up with a nail, and they would nail a placket. It's blue. That means don't come near that door. They would give weekly boxes of rations of food and milk and dry milk and powdered milk and such as that, because you couldn't go out. They would not let you out of your house. So how did it affect Fort Worth? It devastated us. And it was at the time that we were in a huge growth period. 175% in 10 years was astronomical. Of course, we're now in that huge growth period again, but it affected everything in Fort Worth. It closed down churches, hospitals, only emergency wards were open. Your neighbor that was alive last week probably would be dead this week. It was horrifying. I mean, I've got letters of people. Good morning. I've got letters from people that were conversing back in those days, and I mean, they were at wit's end. One lady was, I haven't seen my children. They left the house on such and such a date, and that was also in October. Around the 12th of October, she sent them to the market. She never saw them since. They never did see them because they passed away. So it was devastating. You just stop and think. The lowest count is 50 million people worldwide, and the population of the world in 1918 was what? Hold on. Population of the world in 1918. 1.8 billion people. Some people put it at 100 million, which would be 1/20th of the population, or close. My God, how many people? What's the population now? Population of the world. 8.62 billion. Majority of them live in China, I believe. That I'll tell you right quick. India, China, the United States is third. Indonesia, Pakistan, Nigeria, Brazil, Bangladesh, Russia, and Mexico. India has 1.46 billion. United States has 347 million. China has 1.4 billion. Okay, so anyway, yeah, the influenza was terrible. It was, and there was no penicillin or anything back then, I don't think, was there? Antibiotics weren't started till when? Of course, I don't think antibiotics would have affected it anyway. When was penicillin invented? 1928. So they didn't have much in the way of medicine to prevent what was coming or what was here. Trying to get this ready for this lady that's coming. Because we're going to start at 8. I'm going to do the sponsors next. Come on. Anyway, I'll let y'all know at my first break. Where we are eating. Is that it? That's it. Yeah. Okay, let's do the sponsors. Yellow Snake Horses, Brazos River Ranch, down around Millsap on the Brazos. Eric Walsh, real estate developer, on the board of directors at Larry's Kids. Dub Peacock's A-Bird AC and Heating, Inc. Dana Lang, Dana Sells Cowtown, real estate. Pat and Richard Carr, Dickie Carr Sand and Gravel. They are huge. They help lots of people. They were the first group, person, entity to write a $5,000 check to Larry's Kids. Steve Coburn's Catering. You can't have an event too big for them. They can cater to all of it. Fort Worth Lumber Company have been with me 10, 12 years. Active in the bike drive, active as a sponsor. K-Ranch Roofing is one of our roofing sponsors. Jorge Hernandez is the owner. You can call and you'll talk to Bree. She's the office manager, and if you think you might have roof damage, they'll send somebody out. They'll give you a free inspection. You got to make the call. Brandon Cross, Cross Electric, one of DFW's favorites. Jenny Stewart, State Farm Insurance. If you make a call, there's only one person that said they would not save money by switching to State Farm, and she had Farmers. Old South, 2 locations. 1500 South University, open 24/7. Burleson, they close at 9 or 10 at night. Optimus Club of Fort Worth, they do lots of great stuff for youth. Charlie Guerin's Railhead Barbecue. Charlie is our state rep. He is also on the board of directors at Larry's Kids. He's very passionate about the bike giveaway. Great guy. Raines Plumbing. That's a family-owned plumbing business. And their number one priority is customer satisfaction, and they do a great job. Casey Crawl, Medicare and Medicaid experts. Don't try to navigate that deal without help. And if you're waiting on the government, you're not going to get the help. Tri-State Dent, paintless dent removal. Door dings, hail damage. What is not responding? Minor dents, they do it all. They'll come to you. Rex's Bar and Grill is used to be the old Macaroni Grill. Now it's a sports bar, and it's the Taj Mahal of sports bars, believe me. Swartz and Hanson Architects, very active in the bike giveaway, longtime sponsors. Danny Stroud, Stroud Auto Supply, Riverside, Haltom City area. Phelps Family Auto Care is in the Burleson area. And Mike Phelps and his wife, they came by here one day and we got them set up, and they told me they were planning on expanding to another location also in Burleson. G2 Garage is in the White Settlement area. Chris and his team over there do great work. They always have kind of a new customer special. Just call them and find out what's going on. They want your business. Dickie Carr is Richard Carr's nephew. His company is Grateful for Your Trees. They do everything to do with trees. Cut them down, trim them, grind down stumps. They do haul off demolition, put up security fences, landscaping. These guys do it all. Fort Worth Florist, Jeanette and her team, we've had a lot of great reviews. Just call the number 817-244-2345, and you can do it all by phone or on the internet. Alpha Design and Build is Lance Sanders. They're remodelers. They do residential and commercial. They'll remodel your building or your house, or they'll put a second story on it. Scott is our IT guru. He can build you a website. Any technical issues, Scott can handle them, believe me. Winstead Paint and Body, Clay Winstead. I've been doing business with them 40 years, way before Clay was there. They're on White Settlement Road, a block west of Roberts Cutoff. Be sure whenever you use one of our sponsors that you tell them you're a member of Fort Worth Memories, or use my name. Robert Rivera used Raines Plumbing the other day. They gave him a good deal, and he told them my name. They knocked another 100 off. So, do what? Is there anything I don't know about Fort Worth? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I don't know about Fort Worth. I could talk about Fort Worth for, if I didn't have to sleep, I could probably talk for 5 years straight and never talk about the same thing twice. Who do you like to talk about more than anybody? Eamon. I mean, Eamon was, I was born when Eamon was still alive, so he's kind of in my time frame, although he died in 55. But there's a lot of great leaders before Eamon got here. B.B. Paddock, K.M. Van Zandt, J.J. Jarvis, John Peter Smith. I mean, these guys were huge. The Wagners. We've been lucky. Fort Worth's been lucky for your city to have grown and prospered and really improved in a good way. You had to have good leadership in the early days. You know, our early day people kind of let the criminal element or Hell's Half Acre get away from them. But that was our main source of income, finding prostitutes, and the people that worked down in the acre, which was really 2 acres, they were very good at what they did. When these cattle hands came in, these cowboys that rode on the cattle drives, when they left Fort Worth, they didn't have a penny. I can tell you that for sure. Even the ones that didn't drink and go to the beer joints or the saloons, they somehow got to all of them. They had card tables set up. They had wooden sidewalks and dirt roads. They had card tables or tables set up. They'd play 3-card monte shell game. They were a bunch of crooks, criminals, con artists. And their main deal was to take all the money these cowboys had, and they did it. And so then the sheriff would then find the prostitutes, kind of like a tax doing business as, and all of our mayors, when they would get elected, they would say, I'm going to shut down the acre, no more 24/7 gambling, no more all this prostitution and everything. Well, within 24 hours, that mayor would have to walk that back, because the city council or city alderman back then would say, do you want to get paid for your job? Well, yeah. Then we're not stopping finding the prostitutes. It was a source of income. So, but we had a lot of great leaders that, J. Frank Norris, the reformists that came to town, several of the ministers got on board, but it was the bold ministers. J. Frank Norris, he took on the criminal faction head on. And what did he get for it? They burned his church, they burned his house, they tried to kill him, but he fought them all. And he was not the Klan preacher. I don't care what anybody tells you. That's the Southside Baptist. Bloodworth was the guy's name. So we had a lot of great individuals, and if you just stay listening to my podcast or whatever, you can learn a lot about them. Great people ushered us to the point where we're at now. But you still have to vote, because you have to keep these people in check, because it can get away from you in a heartbeat. Like right now, I think there's too much development. That's just my personal opinion. Everywhere you look, we're building something. And yet our infrastructure is falling apart. So we're going to keep their feet to the fire on this infrastructure. We're going to start a little grading the politicians' and post it. How are they doing on infrastructure? How are they doing when you call one of these city council members? Do you get a return call? Do they follow up with you? And if the answer is no, they're going to know that we know about it because we're going to post it on the group. And it'll just be a scorecard or a report card, just like you got when you was in school. You won't be able to make any comments. You're just going to have to grade those individuals, and then when we do live videos, then you can expound on why you chose to post that. But they're going to be accountable to Fort Worth Memories for sure. Yeah, so I'm going to go off here in just a second, and then I'll be back, and we'll be on YouTube at Fort Worth Memories. We'll be on live videos, the regular internet. We'll be on everything except Memories. So you can catch it online, just basically online. This is a Deputy Sheriff's Department Tarrant County badge. I keep it with me at all times. I don't know why, just we back our first responders 120%, so I will come back right around 8 o'clock. So I will see y'all shortly. Have a great morning.